Down the round.
Good evening and welcome to our first live of this month. And we have a true superstar that we're going to be interviewing tonight. We have the amazing Fraser Graham, who's going to tell us so much about the success that he's had in such a short period of time. So I must confess, I'm looking forward to this as much as probably everyone else who's watching. Now, if you are watching us, the whole, you need to do the thumbs up, the little heart things and all the rest of it. Give us a wave or whatever. Make sure you can do all that sort of stuff. Your love is very much appreciated. I'm still getting used to this social media love hearts thumb things, but you know what I mean. For those that are watching, make sure you do it. So without further ado, I believe in getting straight to the chase. We have Fraser Graham. So Fraser, please tell us a little bit more about you. And we've got our very first love heart already. There you go. You've not even spoken yet.
Yeah, beauty. So I stay in West Lothian in central Scotland. I've got 3 kids and my partner Joe. And I joined this amazing business just over 18 months ago, I would say, and it's been amazing. It's changed my life, absolutely changed my life in more ways than one, in terms of time freedom, not only financially, but time freedom and just flexibility in life, which has been amazing.
Brilliant. And that's a big statement, considering we've just gone through a pandemic, that you're saying that it's actually been a good thing for yourself. So obviously, you've got the amazing Joe. I have to say that because Joe might be watching. So on behalf of Fraser, he always says you're amazing, by the way. And you've got the 3 kids.
Later on.
I said it was £20. Gosh, I'm negotiating that down already. Anyway, so you got Joe, you got the 3 kids as well. So listen, let's find out a little bit about your background. What is it that you did before you joined the business as such?
So I was a heating engineer to trade. So I served my time as a domestic heating engineer, worked for various companies, then went on to be an energy efficiency surveyor, and worked for probably 9 or 10 years, working away, trying to climb the ladder of success in various companies, and just getting frustrated at not getting opportunities, not getting any pay rises. The money that I was on when I was working as a heat engineer was good money, but it wasn't what I wanted to always earn, if you know what I mean. So that's what I did previously, and then obviously found this business and spoke to yourself, which was great.
Brilliant. So you started off as a heating engineer, progressed, obviously then moved on in the company. You thought you were going to climb this the corporate ladder of success. Yeah. And then I know, but for the benefit of everybody else, you kind of got to like a glass ceiling, would you say, where you got to that point, reasonably good income, and then you were overlooked twice for promotion. Is that right? Yeah.
So I've always been an ambitious person in terms of, not even in the financial sense of earning more money, but just looking for more responsibility and just trying to grow. And I went for several promotions, but 2 of them were quite recent, quite near the end of when I left my full-time job. And I got overlooked for the 2 of them. I felt like I was quite well qualified to get both of those jobs, and something just resonated with me at that point. That what am I doing? Why am I beating myself up about having to take on more responsibility, work more hours to line someone else's pocket? And just like a light bulb went on in my head, and knew there and then that I had to find something else.
Brilliant. If anyone that's watching this tonight can relate, whether it's on replay or live, if you can relate to that, where you feel that you should have had promotion at a certain point in your life, just give us a little thumbs up. I totally, Fraser, I can relate to that. I know in my earlier career in finance, that I was doing half a job and half another job, and then it was going full time on that job. He basically turned around and said I was too young. I thought, well, if I can do it half the time, how can I be too young? I thought that's just wrong, and that got me inside. It says, I'm going to prove you guys wrong. And like, I got that role, so I can totally relate to that. And that's why you joined the business, isn't it? Because you realised that you'd maybe got to that point, and it might be some time before you can progress.
Yeah, I think it's just what happened there was whatever happened that put a light bulb on in my head. But I'd realised that those two jobs that I was applying for, they weren't going to come up anytime soon again in the organisation I was working in, and it was quite a small organisation. So the opportunity for promotion within that business again, it was going to be very, very, very slim. And I thought to myself, I don't want to be another 5 years, 6 years, 7 years down the line, still earning the same money, still doing the same job. There was a part of the job as well that was becoming a lot of scrutiny in it in terms of making sure you were doing things in a specific way. And yeah, I think that was the final straw that broke the camel's back for me. That made me look elsewhere.
Yeah, dead man shoes is sometimes what they refer to as, isn't it? Where you have to wait until or you move elsewhere. It's a bit extreme to bump them off. Not even in West Lothian do they do that.
Well, nah. I'm not so sure about that.
So you joined on a part-time basis. You had your full-time job, but you're also juggling other things. So tell me what was also happening in your life when you joined last year.
Yeah, so if I think back, I've 3 kids. So Eden Rose, who's the youngest, she's now coming up for 4, but obviously back then she would have been just coming up for 3. So Eden Rose, Ruben and Freya, who are 3 kids. Ruben's 9 and Freya's now 15. So all different ages, all different levels of problems that you get with all different ages of kids that you have to deal with. And I was also, or I do also coach a football team, have done for years, since I was probably 19, 20, which wasn't yesterday. And I do that, two nights a week training, and then 1 day a week at the weekend, for a game. My house is a mini pet shop. We've got 2 dogs, a cat, a budgie. There's loads going on in our life at any point in time, but particularly then, on top of that, juggling a full-time job. So you're right. When I did join. Some people might have thought I'm too busy for that, but I managed to find time to start building this business, and I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah. I remember hearing many years ago, if you want something done, ask a busy person to go get it done, because it'll always get done, and you're just evidence of that. I'm just going to ask before we start revealing more, anyone that's watching this, please share this. Feel free to share this with anyone else. They may resonate with Fraser's story that we're hearing tonight. So you joined, you started doing it really around the family life, your busy life. And tell us, a few months into the business, what sort of things were happening for you? What success were you getting, and where was your thought process?
So I started, when I started, I was kind of working during the day and building my business at night, and working on my business at night. And there was some long nights, I've got to say. I was going out the door in the morning, first thing in the morning. I was maybe getting in after my full-time job, going in, getting my dinner, and going right back out again to work. So it was long days and long nights. But I quickly started to realise that when my wage slips and my commission was coming in, for maybe 10 hours a week, I'm making more money here than what I'm making in a week or a month with my full-time employment. So in terms of the amount of hours I was putting, let's say I was putting, 150 hours a month, 140 hours a month into my full-time job, I was doing a fraction of that and making more money. So that was the first thing that was very surprising. And I always remember the conversation I had with yourself after we spoke about the getting overlooked for the promotion that was going to add an extra $3,000 onto my wage. And you asked if that was monthly, and I said no, annually. And you said, well, trust me, you'll make that within your first couple of months here. And I always remember thinking, yeah, he's a bit full of it. But you were 100% right. And went on, consistently went on to make more money doing this part-time than what I was working full-time. Other things that happened to me, I started qualifying for some of the company incentives really quickly. If I remember off the top of my head, there would have been holiday incentives. So very, very quick into my business, qualified for an all expenses paid trip to Florida for myself and my family, which is going to be next June. Fingers crossed, everyone's okay. Which is amazing. That's just that is a dream holiday. That would be the stuff of dreams for us before I started this business. So can't wait to see the kids. They understand where we're going. They understand we're going to Florida, and we showed them videos and all that kind of stuff. But that'll be a whole different ball game when we get there. It's going to be great. And then just started to realise very, very quick on in this business that this could replace my full-time, well, it already was replacing my full-time income in terms of how much I was making, but the fear of perhaps walking away from my full-time job started to kind of gradually go away.
Brilliant. And one thing that I do know, having obviously, helped you over your journey so far, is I recall you saying, to get to Florida for you guys, for the family, that would have taken you years and years and years of saving up to be able to afford that, because going over to Orlando and Disney is truly magic. It is magical. I've been fortunate to have been there a number of years, and with your family, and especially the younger the kids are, but even older kids, us, even, we absolutely love it as well.
You were referring to there.
But yeah, it's amazing. In fact, you got that alongside your earnings. So I know you don't hold back on these sort of things. So do you mind sharing with the audience? You were in a good job. I think the average wage in the UK was pre-COVID anyway about £26,000. So you were on a salary above the average wage. Is that correct?
Yeah, but it was probably just over £30,000.
Just over £30,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Within a few months, you're already seeing that you're earning more doing a quarter of the hours than you were full time.
100%.
I just want people to think that for a second. You were earning more working a quarter of the hours. It's no wonder we did have that conversation. And what I said to you was, listen, you've done great to start off with, but you've got to prove to yourself you can do this on a regular basis. So again, share with our audience, if you don't mind, 18 months down the line, you've been in a bit more than 18 months now, but 18 months down the line, you calculated what you'd earned. And do you mind sharing that with people? It's not to show off, but just to show people, actually, you can change things around. Your world can change by one conversation, because that's what we had. One conversation, you told me about how unhappy you were, and here you are now. So do you mind sharing with everybody?
No, absolutely not. So I calculated that I'd made about £70,000 in my first 18 months with the business. And what I have to say is that at least, I'm just trying to think now, at least a quarter of that, towards a half of that, was doing it part-time. So that's something that has to be factored in, because I was not spending a lot more time now in my business than what I was when I was working, obviously. But a lot of that earnings was while I was working part-time.
Brilliant. And now, obviously, you've got much more flexibility, because you've not got the job and the business. You still got the kids, still got the dogs. By the way, one of these dogs is not a dog, but I'll maybe come back to that later on. It's not a dog. It is huge. It is massive.
It's just because you've seen it. It's just because you've seen it pictured next to me. That's all.
Well, I believe one of your vocations in life was to become a jockey, because obviously you got the right height for that, But the fact you went and bought a dog that's the size of a pony, I mean, you've just taken that too far. You've taken that far too far, Fraser.
Oh dear.
You brought it up, not me. So, January, you quit your job.
Yes.
You go full time in this.
Yes. Very scary. The scary thing to go through. Not to go through. In my head, it was scary, because obviously I had a lot of responsibilities. So even though I'd convinced myself through months and months of working alongside my full-time job and working my business, I'd kind of convinced myself up here, but it was still the thought of actually doing it was quite a scary prospect. But I knew it made sense to do it. So yeah, that was handed my notice in December 2019, and yeah, that was a great feeling. I had a lot of friends at my old work and things like that, but it's a great feeling to hand your notice in and be your own boss to that point forward.
Control your destiny.
Yeah, other than the boss in the house. If you're watching, Joe.
Very true. Always make sure you do right. So, complete control of your own destiny. I mean, there's nothing that can take this out of your hands until March.
Yeah.
And the country goes into lockdown. Millions of business owners suddenly, their business collapses or has to go into hold. And even right now in December 2020, and they've announced, for anyone watching this 20 years down the line, when we're old and grey, by the way, we've just found out we can get a vaccination, but it's going to take some time before everyone can get that vaccination. So things aren't going to change really quickly. In fact, if you look at the size of the economy's contracted, they reckon by the end of this year, 11.3%, which is the largest contraction in the economy in history. I remember the last recession, the 2008 one, when I was a mortgage broker, and how I lost 90% of my income overnight because the bank stopped lending money. And the economy only contracted about 2%. It didn't contract that much, but it felt like it really did. And it took years and years for things to come back. And they're already predicting growth next year and year after, which is probably over optimistic. It's going to take us at least 2 years of massive growth in comparison to the previous decade to even get back to where we were in January.
Yeah.
So many businesses, I mean, you just have to look at the Arcadia Group. Topshop, Topman, Miss Selfridge, gone. Debenhams, gone. All
crazy.
Weeks before Christmas.
Yep.
In the last recession, companies like Woolworths went bust in the February because at least they could survive and hope that Christmas would take them over the line. These companies are gone already. That tells you how bad the economy is. Yep. So obviously it affected your business. Obviously you've really struggled since March as a direct result, because just about every business, unless you're a supermarket, has struggled. So can you confirm that's been the case?
No. I mean, it was a weird time, March, because January I'm away up here because I've just started my new business. I'm my own boss. I've left my full-time job, so I'm away up here for people who can see. And then, March, and just I mean, your mind's just going, what's going on? Like, is that my business stopped? Is that like, how am I going to make money? How am I going to support my family? Probably like, that was probably shared by a lot of people throughout the UK and throughout the world. But the fantastic thing about being partnered up with the company that we're partnered up with is that they're so forward thinking and so innovative that we found a workaround, a remote workaround to do what we do, which has actually propelled our businesses individually, and actually made our network national now, whereas before we would have been quite regional in terms of our businesses. It's now nationwide. So we as businesses within this network have propelled in lockdown.
Yeah.
And I've never been as busy as I am right now, while other businesses, and it's a very sad state of affairs, but while other businesses round about are shut, I've never been busier than I'm right here, right now, because of this business, which is great. It's not good to have other, off the back of other people's misfortunes, but this is for me, this is a recession-proof business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was around in this business at that time when we did have the last recession, and I would actually say it's a recession boom business, because actually the business, if you look between 2008 and 2012, we doubled in size during those years, because people absolutely understand the value of what we do. They understand that their purse, their wallet is smaller than what it was before. and that they maybe have to pivot and they maybe have to change. And we do live very much in the side hustle, the side gig, the gig economy. That's where we're in now. Back then, that was not really the vogue thing, whereas it is vogue now to have a side hustle, a side gig on top of your job or your business or whatever. In fact, I was speaking to a gentleman today, fantastic, I mean, really, really super nice guy, who's a private hire driver, so taxi driver. They've struggled because there's no tourists.
Okay.
So he's pivoted, he's adapted, and he's doing car valeting. And by the way, he's got to be the cheapest car valeter I have ever heard. Okay, I'm not going to say how much he's charging, but super low, because he's got 5 kids and he's like he's wanting to work. He realizes that, you know, nothing's given to you on a plate, so he's going out there and doing the do. And when I told him what we do and what he can earn, he was just like, wow, that's a lifesaver. That can completely change our families' lives. And that's exactly what we do. We give people, no matter what their background, that opportunity to change things quite dramatically, as it has for you. I mean, if I had recorded this on the 1st of April, it would have been an April Fool's Day, and said to you, how do you feel about your future?
Yeah.
You would be looking pretty grim.
Absolutely.
8 months later, you're going, actually, this has been a phenomenal growth opportunity, because, as you say, you're now able to look at people not just local to you, but literally nationally, which is great. So you're clearly a driven individual.
Yes.
Without saying. What would you say are your main drivers to where you are today? Because you've been in the job and you did as best as you could and got to that level, and you decided, right, I need to move, I need to change, I need to pivot. So what drives you?
So when you understand the processes of this business and the compensation plan of this business, you understand that it provides you with a financially independent future through residual income. And the thought of being, I'm 34 at the moment, I know I don't look it, but I'm 34, and the thought of being 36, 38, 40 and being financially independent at still a relatively young age is just, that's what drives me every day. You know, to get to that point and be able to go, oh, I don't need to worry about money anymore. That, you know, that's not many 40-year-olds experience that. And the great thing is, people who do tend to be in jobs where they have to go for years to study and get an education to be in, you know, kind of income relations like that. Whereas this business is open to anybody. So definitely being financially independent, that is my plan, in a very short space of time, and it's already happening. Other things that drive me, so our business is what you would call a willable business. So you know, whatever residual income that I create by the time I get struck by lightning or hit by a bus when I'm older, that passes on to my kids and my partner and my family. And that's just knowing every day that every time I get up and go out to work and work hard, and sometimes, you know, there's no getting around it, sometimes working long hours now, because I treat this like a business. Beforehand, when I was working full time, this was just something on the side, but it is my business now, so I treat it that way. But knowing that everything I'm doing right now is building a financially stable future for my kids, should something happen to me, that's a massive driver for me as well. And I would say, thirdly, being able to help other people achieve what I've achieved. You know, I've got a lot of contacts in this business now that I've brought in and managed to start them on the road to success in this business. And, you know, to be perhaps 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years down the line, and somebody that I've introduced to this business turning around saying to me, you've changed my whole life for introducing me to that. Like, thank you so much. That there won't be a better feeling than that when that does happen. So that's something that drives me, is being able to introduce people and watch their lives change by just showing them what I've done.
Brilliant. And yes, it's like paying it forward, isn't it? Because, you know, you've been given the opportunity, which you've grabbed with both hands, and you deserve all the plaudits that you get because you've done the effort, but you were given the guidance to begin with. and the opportunity. And what you're doing is equally the same. You're giving other people the same opportunity and the guidance and support to help them get the same levels of success that you've got. And you're right, there is no greater feeling in the world knowing that you've made that positive impact on somebody else's life. Just something you mentioned earlier on, which some people may or may not understand. So you mentioned a thing called residual income. So just for clarity, a residual income is like a royalty style income. That's, not far from us both, is this author called J.K. Rowling. I don't know if anyone's heard of her at all, possibly, maybe. She maybe wrote a book or two. J.K. Rowling of the Harry Potter fame. Now, admittedly, actually, her story, go find out her story. Her story is amazing. The number of book companies that did not think her book was any good, and she kept persisting. And, at one stage, she was a billionaire-ess. But because she gives so much money away to charity, she's less than a billionaire-ish now, which I think is fantastic. But every time anyone buys a Harry Potter thing, the book, the Universal Studios have got it under license, etc. That's how she makes her money. So just for clarification, the residual income is doing a job once and getting paid time and time again for the job you've done previously. Yeah. Just for clarification. But something else that probably strikes a chord with so many, and if you've got a family, give us a wee thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up if you've got family, etc. Is the legacy that you talked about there as well. So as you say, when you're no longer here, you're no longer on this planet, so to speak. The fact that you can leave a financial legacy to them and knowing that's going to take care of them is massive. But it's actually more than that, Fraser, because that's one legacy that you leave. But you also leave the legacy of being around for them. You leave the legacy of seeing them grow up.
Yeah.
Or, the younger ones. Let's just put it, when you're 15, you know everything, and you're grown up, and the last thing you want is your parents. Okay. So maybe past that sort of stage, shall we say. But also, there's the legacy of the people that you talk to and their families. So actually, the legacy you're leaving is much more than you actually conceive, because it's not just financial. It's much more than that. Yeah. Well, listen, really appreciate your time tonight. Any final parting words that you want to share? And again, please, everyone that's been watching, give us the love hearts if you've enjoyed it. And again, please share it, because the one thing I know for sure is there are people out there that just listening to what Fraser's achieved in such a relatively short time frame might resonate with them. Maybe many things that resonate with them as well. And just putting it out there and get them to connect with Fraser or myself or whatever, and we can obviously give them some more guidance. But any sort of final parting words of wisdom from yourself as such?
I would just echo your sentiments there, that there are and will be people that are struggling right now, business owners, people on furlough, people who have been made redundant, people who have done or do a second income stream which can't work at the moment. And rather than sit there and worry about how you're going to see out next month or the next 3 months or the next 6 months, you need to reach out to someone who does something like what we do, because it's the difference between, for some people it can be the difference between keeping your head above water. For other people it can be the difference to the rest of your life. So yeah, don't sit quiet. Reach out to people and find out what we do.
Yeah, I was before tonight. I had the pleasure of Chris Moon. Don't know who Chris Moon is. Just again, go Google him. He was in the military and got half his side blown up, his leg and arm and things like that. And he said actually one of the things about, he was referring to people in India who'd gone from utter poverty to getting out of poverty, etc. And the one common thing that they all did was they asked for help.
Yeah.
Very much a British thing is a sign of weakness, asking for help. Actually, asking for help is exactly a sign of strength, knowing that you are looking for something and there are people out there that are willing to help you. So, do ask, whether it's you or somebody else, it doesn't matter, but just ask for help and you'll be amazed what's out there and how your world can completely change. So Fraser, thank you very much for your time tonight. Truly appreciate that. I know
Excellent.
you've got things to do tonight, so I'll let you go. But on behalf of everybody, thank you again for your time, and we wish you all continued success. All the very best, Fraser.
All the best, guys. Cheers.